Three, two, one. All right, here we go. It's another edition of Inside Fitness Radio. Today's guest, Markus. Markus, how do you say your last name? Is it Kaulius? Kaulius?
Oh, you got it, Kaulius.
Kaulius. I was getting pretty close. I'm a stickler with last names and stuff, and I'm pretty bad at saying them. So apologize for that. But Markus, thank you so much for making the time to get on. What time is it over there? You're out in Vancouver.
What are we, 10 a.m.? Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Terry. Hey, man, I love hanging out with you. This is going to be a fun time.
And I'm glad that we're doing this virtual. And I'm only saying that because if people could actually see their meet, like standing beside you, there's a real big height difference. And, you know, that was this, at least this way, I kind of have the camera up a little bit, you know, just so it's kind of adjusted. But you're a tall fellow. How tall are you?
6'6".
6'6". Now, do you think that's been an advantage in your life or a disadvantage or no advantage, like nothing?
Oh, there's no question it's an advantage. You know, it's funny, this world, we make fun of tall people when we're younger and we don't know better, but man, there's a lot of advantages to being a tall dude.
I would say so. I mean, listen, it's whatever you're born with, you got to deal with, and you know, a height and all that stuff. I mean, it's one of those things that every time I see you, I just feel like a little kid because you give me this hug, and I'm just like, I like to feel like I'm, you know, a man here, and then you're like, you're a little guy, you know, you're gonna pick me up a little bit, but. And I'm kind of glad too, Mark, 'cause I will say I've been doing some Zoom meetings with like no shirt on, but I definitely was not going to do that with you because I mean, you for sure. I'm glad kind of glad you have your shirt on, but maybe at some point you'll take your shirt off. It could be a first. That would definitely be an Inside Fitness Radio first. So I want to dig in. Markus is the president, the founder, owner of Magnum Nutraceuticals, right?
Yes, sir.
And we've crossed paths over the years. We've done some business here and there, and I've typically seen you at some trade shows and all that. And to be totally honest with you, I mean, I really don't know a lot about you, right? I mean, it's one of those things where I see things. You got social media. You're out there. Obviously you've been on social media for quite some time. You've got a very strong following. One thing I do notice is that people they watch you, they follow you. And you've been doing this for quite some time. So let's kind of start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I'm a Richmond boy out here on the West Coast in Canada.
Yeah.
My origin story, if you will, and it's sort of what has defined me and led me on this path that I'm on. I had a weird, rough childhood. It's funny you talk about height. Height was a real problem for me when I was young. I sprouted up big time. I'm a Lithuanian, and it's what we do. Like, we have these massive, crazy growth spurts. I was warned it was going to happen. It's happening to my kids right now.
Yeah.
I shot up to 6'4.5" at 125 pounds. I was just a bone rack. And when you look like that, you just get bullied like you wouldn't believe. Girls wouldn't notice me, and I let all that sink in, you know.
Were you like a geeky kid? Were you like kind of like a geeky guy too? I mean, because sometimes obviously being tall too, you don't move the same way, right?
Oh, for sure. No, coordination was garbage. Geeky, man, I spent hours and hours every day playing Lego. And I'm not talking when I was like 7. I was like 13 years old here, people. But yeah, I believed what people said about me. I was that guy, that loser guy, and then no self-confidence, no self-worth. And I was so fortunate, you know, the turning point for me, I got into a car accident. Sounds so fortunate, I know. Led me into the gym. Yeah. And I just started working out, and I loved it. And it wasn't so much that my body changed at all. It just changed everything up here. And I just got self-confidence, self-worth. Right away, the bullies leave you alone. Right away, the girls notice you. And that just put me on that path where I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I freaking love this. And I loved learning, and I loved learning about the science, and I loved learning about the supplements. And most importantly, I loved getting off the sad, unhappy path and getting onto the good one. And I thought, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to help others learn this path. Yeah. So you can just say goodbye to your crap life. It can change overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's obviously really amazing. And so in school, you were obviously, you said, kind of geeky, and you kind of got your way. And then when you found you had car accident, how old were you around that time?
15, 16.
So then you found fitness. Did
Yeah.
you want to compete? Did you feel
Oh,
like,
no.
who did you look up to? Was there any like fitness guys or bodybuilders or anyone you're like, I like this guy's physique, or where did you get your
To be honest, Terry, early on, that wasn't my thing. Like, I was so skinny, and I saw the big dudes, right? Like the
yeah,
Dorian Yates of those days. They were just massive. It was just never my thing. Competing never crossed my mind. I remember I'm now 126 pounds. Like,
yeah.
it's not like I put on any muscle. I'm so bloody tall and skinny. So it really wasn't about that. To be honest, it really wasn't a physical transformation for many years. I put on a tiny, tiny bit of muscle in 1 to 2 to 3 years. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And started to like my arms, and it was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but it was never a body thing. It was a confidence thing. Like, right away I had confidence. Right away I liked who I was, and I wasn't afraid to be me.
So did you go to school for business? What did you take? What did you have
I
interest in?
did. I got it. Well, actually, I was about to be. I really wanted to be an actor.
Really?
And I starred in a couple of TV movies back in those days. And
Oh,
I
really?
actually, I almost had a huge break. There was something called Mutant X, and it was the TV series. And
Vicky
I don't
Pratt.
remember how successful it had ended up being. Do you remember that name?
Vicky Pratt was on it, no?
I don't remember even who was on it, but
I'm pretty sure,
I
because that's
was going to
going
be.
back to the 90s. I remember I worked
Yep.
at Muscle Mag, Mutant X. I'm pretty sure I remember that. But yeah, it's like, yeah, that was so you were cast for that? You were looking.
Well, I had a fourth shot at this thing, so it was between me and like three other dudes, and that was I pictured it like this was going to be my big break. This was my moment,
Yeah.
and I feel like God just kept me off that path. It was interesting and exciting at the time, but I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be an actor. And then when I missed that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. And I went to school for business. I got a degree with in entrepreneurial leadership, and it's done me so good. And I'm such a big fan of education, by the way. I
Yeah.
know this world continues to talk the other way, like, you don't need an education, you can make money by yourself, and blah blah blah. I preach the opposite. Get an education. It's not just about the education. It's not just about what you're going to learn, but it's about learning how to stick with something for 4 years, learning and showing people that you're capable of committing. And I think there's a lot of that missing right now in society.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I'm pretty sure I went to a Gary V, one of those talks years ago, and I like Gary V. I think he's got some really cool things. Sometimes I think these guys are just kind of like shock jocks too, and they say
Yeah.
stuff to kids
Yep.
just to kind of like, oh, you're in school, it's a perfect time to like start a business and then drop out. Like, hey,
Yes.
I totally get it. I mean, I understand there are some kids out there that are gifted and can start, websites or whatever it is, can make some
Yep.
money. But I do agree with having some structure and sticking to something too, because it's how things are I think done, and quality
Yes.
stuff too, right? I mean, and we talk quality, I could tell. I mean, judging, I thought you were maybe in your house or at the mall or something, but this is your office. So, and if there's anything that, I mean, listen, I watch on social media. I don't see everything, but I certainly have seen stuff. I've seen it, over the years. And you're a self-made guy, from what I can see here, and you take a lot of effort into quality. I mean, not just your products. I mean, I have your bottles here. I could look at it. I've seen you have a capsule dispenser. I believe you already had one in your office before. Uh,
It's down in the kitchen, the candy shop.
Yeah, and I know. Listen, coming from my seat, like being in the industry for over 20 years, I've seen a lot of products developed, and some cases, guys come from they could have a shady background. This is back years ago, and they could be in the distribution business, right? I mean, this is certainly you're competing with these guys. I'm talking the 90s.
Yeah,
And you got
absolutely.
guys who are sales guys, GNC guys, people who maybe worked in a store. Then, hey, I could do a supplement, or worked at a Muscle Mag, or wherever it was.
Yeah.
How did you like come up with Magnum? How did this come across your mind, and why?
It's funny what a perfect lead in you just gave me to this, because you're right. Especially back in those days, the people who were the leaders of the industry were not necessarily quality guys. And I became disillusioned with supplements. I loved supplements. I loved it. And I loved the concept of supplements, but I hated what was available to me. Like, there was nothing that didn't give you brutally upset stomach, brutal gas, discomfort, and question if you even got results. But the idea and the science behind supplements said, yes, they should. And what was missing was integrity. The people who were making this stuff were not focused on people's health. We're not focused on actually getting people results. It was like, wow, I'm going to make a quick buck at this. And that was when I said, you know what, I'm not going to trust anyone else with my body because I got too much riding on this. And Magnum was, I started Magnum 15 and a half years ago. And it was just one simple principle: integrity in everything we do. And I made that my statement from day one because I knew that would separate us from everyone else.
Yeah.
And here we are 15 and a half years later. We've never strayed from that. Like, integrity is always paramount. And when you focus on integrity, it aligns everything else. So everything is based on science. We don't come up with anything on our own. It is science-based. And what I love about that is, you know, you got so many people on the internet who love to just argue for the sake of arguing and, oh, why'd you do this and stuff? And it's so beautiful when you base everything on solid science that's been published in medical journals, that the science has been created at high-end universities. You can't argue with me. I'm sorry, you don't like that? Do you want me to get Harvard on the phone? Harvard is the one who did the study, not Marcus. So I get it. You're smarter than Harvard. I get it. I'm going to get you on the phone with them. You guys have a nice little argument. And so, we base everything on science and we make fun formulas. Like, I freaking love this. You know, that's the other thing. A lot of those dudes back then, they liked the gym a little bit and liked the money of it. But I have a passion for fitness. Like, I freaking love working out. I love seeing what the human body, the human mind is capable of. And it's about testing the limitations up here every single day. And that's what supplements can help you with, like push harder, give you more energy, give you more strength, help you recover faster. And that's what we do.
Well, yeah, you're definitely a perfect example of someone who, you know, came up with an idea because you wanted to better yourself. And then it kind of parlayed. I'm sure it started to really, like, where did you see it start to take off for you? Because, like I said, I know you're sitting in this really nice office and like you said, it's 15 and a half years to get to this. And the younger, and one thing, how old are you? You're around what, 40, 30?
41.
41. Okay. So I'm a little bit older than you, but I mean, not too much. And, you know, I've worked with lots of different, you know, people younger, and I love working with younger people, inspired people and all that. And it's motivating, you know what I mean? So when you started off, what was some of the first, like, you know, kicking the nuts or something where the door slammed in your face? I've told stories on my podcast, but what happened to you where you're like, okay, you got this going, and then like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Did anything stand out?
Oh yeah. The worst one, Terry. So, you know, everything for me was very much organic. Like, I didn't take out huge loans. I never racked up credit card debt. So it was really about this. I had to have a long-term vision from day one. It's also important part of the story. I grew up quite poor, like really, even I believed I was more poor than I was, to the point where when it was hot dog day and hot dogs were 50 cents, I wouldn't even tell my mom because I thought I would put too much stress on her to have to give me 50 cents. That's how poor I believed we were. Because I wore all my sister's hand-me-down clothes. Like, we were not doing well. So when I was in business, all I was thinking is, I'm going to leave every penny in this thing because it needs to turn over. It needs to turn over. So that's how I grew for years, very slowly, and just getting the word of mouth out there. But one of the hardest times I had was it was about let's say year eight of business. So I'm not doing huge numbers yet. And by the way, the first 5 years of Magnum, I didn't take a salary. So it's something huge that I recommend for entrepreneurs. See how long you can go without taking a salary. It allows your business to grow. You got to leave that money in there. Plus, how many entrepreneurs do you see fall apart because, oh man, I did $100,000. I got to go buy myself a Range Rover. I got to look good in the Mercedes. I got to
Sure.
let people know Markus is balling. But no, man, I was still eating friggin' craft dinner after 5 years. And I
Yeah.
know that's not cool for fitness to be eating craft dinner, but we were poor. So anyway, I finally am taking some money. We're doing pretty good. And 3 years in, we
Yeah.
start doing, we launched one of our best launches ever. It was by far the best launch ever at that time. It was Magnum Opus. And it went mayhem on bodybuilding.com. We had a great partnership with them. They were selling, I can't remember the exact amount of units. I think it was 1,000 units per week.
Yeah.
Now, as a small company, that was crazy talk. And every week, 1,000 units, 1,000 units. And I'm going, holy smokes. So I know I'm going to run out. But I want to keep this steam going. So I order a bunch. Plus, I'm going to order my second flavor. And I don't want to run out of that either. So I'm going to place another order behind that. So I've got all these POs. Now, what I didn't know was how algorithms and stuff work on websites. The minute I ran out of stock, they took me out of their algorithms. And when the stock came back in, they didn't order. So I'm sitting here with, I think it was $2 million in POs for this brand new product that was so, I mean, everybody else was selling it okay, but I would honestly guess, Terry, everyone else combined was maybe 500 or 700 units. So everything was based on bodybuilding.com, and they were selling nothing now. So long story short, I had $1 million in excess stock. I didn't have a lot of money. So here I was freaking out. And that was actually, it could have been crippling. Like, who has $1 million cash laying around?
Yeah.
And boom, I had to go back. It was very humbling. No more salary. And it took over a year again for me to get a salary again. And those are the kind of things you have to do as an entrepreneur. You can't like be too prideful. Like, no way, I'm still taking my money. If I had kept taking my money, Magnum might not be here today. So that was a hard lesson to learn. And I couldn't get that product dumped anywhere because I wasn't a big enough company yet. I got lucky kind of with bodybuilding.com at the time, but then it ended up like nearly crippling me.
I think you listen in business. I mean, sometimes you can get caught with your pants down, and it's probably not the earlier days. It could be when you get, and being a young guy, let's be honest too, when you're a young guy, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but your ego can get into your head, obviously, where you're like, nothing can stop me right now. This one's doing well. You know, I've done some successful launches, and I've done some ones that were not successful, and I've launched magazines, or I talked about launching magazines that never really happened. And I was telling my kids this the other day, just like, not everything you do is going to work.
Yeah.
But you have to. People respect the try, the hustle. And I think that's probably why we're good at what we're doing here, because not only are we like, doing our thing, living our life and making ourselves better, but we're also have the ability to help other people. We're not just selling products. I mean, yes, buy magazines, buy Magnum, buy stuff, guys, whatever you can do, support Canadian. Of course, we want people to do this, but it's actually helping and inspiring people to do what they do best and to perform at the best. And now we're at I think an age or even a place where we don't have to give people the BS. You know what I mean? The supplement world, there's smoke and mirrors. I'm not going to sit here and be the guy who's going to be the.
Jeez.
Oh wow!
Sorry. Holy.
I like.
I'm so sorry.
I told you we're not cutting. We're not cutting. This is you got excited.
Wow, it fell. My suction cup fell off the wall there. Wow. Sorry, everybody.
Let's not recommend this brand of suction cups.
No kidding. I hear pieces just blowing off this thing. Wow.
It looks like it's okay. I don't see anything.
We're
this
good.
is a first though, Marcus. I will say you're making it interesting.
Okay, we're back. Hello. I'm so sorry.
One time I was at a fitness competition. It's really random, but it was a fitness competition, and the photographers were shooting photos, and they have their laptops, and they're set up in like fifth row. They're not really that close. And a fitness girl got up there and had a volleyball, and for whatever reason decided to like launch it, and it hit a Mac computer. It was hooked up to a Canon. You're talking like, and that whole room was probably like at least minimum $10,000-$15,000 worth of stuff. It flew. It was kind of like, I saw it. I was like, wow. And now I just had a podcast where your computer just fell off. Were you on a window? Like, what do you want? Is it suction cup?
I like the lighting when I'm facing my window. So I've suction cupped my phone to the window.
Yeah. No, hey, you know what? I guess this never probably happened before, but there's a first. Okay, so anyways, back to inspiring people and all that. Like I said, the
Yeah.
one thing I do love about being involved in the fitness world is that we're able to inspire people and do it and make a living and do these things. And now, so that was a struggle for you. Where did you get? Because I'm sure in the early days, I don't recall seeing you really. I mean, you were in the advertising, you've had magazine covers, you've been in the you've been in. And here's actually one thing that people do need to hear, and from the horse's mouth. Um, People will say, "Oh, to get published, you got to pay for things and all that." And trust me, business is business. A lot of people end up in Disney, and all these guys end up in magazines or on TV and stuff because there's money behind it, or sponsorship, or TV shows and all that. And we all need to work together. But I've never ever. I've published in a magazine probably a couple of times, and it was never ever talk of money. And here's the thing with me on that is I can, and trust me, I put people on magazine covers. There's people who were sponsored athletes and all that will have the advantage. It's business. This is business. It's not, we do. And we never, that never happened. I mean, you certainly have a very, very, like your physique, a natural physique. I mean, I can tell that all day long. And you must work really hard, but I will say that, like, going on the record here, because people tend to think that's like, and it is an easy way. And trust me, I understand it, but we never came across that. I mean, you never know with covers and stuff. Like I've put different supplement guys on magazine covers, but sometimes a lot of it actually has to do with timing.
Yeah.
You People don't realize timing is key, because you can be at your peak. I think one time actually you reached out to me. It was just like, wasn't good timing with what was going on at the magazine. And I think articles get published, but sometimes I won't lie to you. I've got covers sometimes where I'm like, man, I really could use something, and then it doesn't. Nothing drops in my lap, and then other times things do drop. So, like I said, I just want to go on the record with that, because you work really hard at what you do. Um, I see that, and that's one thing. Balance. So, how
Thank
do
you.
you balance? How do you balance this all? You know what I mean? You got to this point where obviously you run a successful business. You've got how many people work for you?
Um, Somewhere around 30, 32, 33.
A lot of mouths there. So, how do you balance this all out?
Great question. First, I want to say, Terry, if you ever get in a tight situation, I've got your cover just like waiting. Okay. I got the photos, I got
Just
the story.
you
10
know,
minutes. Give me 10 minutes. I'll get it over to you. Okay.
Hey,
Uh,
man, you never ever know, because
no,
I'm
it's true.
telling you, listen, 40, and here's the thing too, 40, people don't realize, when you're 25, some things are a lot easier, but 40 is not as easy, and you never know. But yeah, go ahead. It's
Uh, your question about balance is awesome. And I get that question all the time. Uh, you know, I'm going to really change how people think about this. People think, well, how do you first do your business stuff and then still find time for the working out and the eating right? You got to actually flip that equation. I'm able to do all the business stuff because of all the eating right and the fitness. So the fitness and everything I prioritize first, because it gives me the energy and the mental focus to get through the days and do awesome at it. How many people in their business life at 3 p.m. feel like taking a nap because they're just wiped? I don't get that. And sure, I'm freaking loaded up on fasted cardio and all the other Magnum goodies that keep
yeah,
me going. But it's also the fasted cardio in the morning, just getting that exercise, getting my workout in. Now I feel pumped. My blood's flowing all day. I start off my day in such a great spot
yeah.
that I'm able to work super hard, that my brain is sharp all day, that I can come up with ideas, that I can keep going. And that's prioritized first, and it gets me doing all these other amazing things. And it doesn't just stop there. It's not just about the business. I want to get home and be very present for my wife and my kids. I've been happily married for coming up on 16 years. I got two beautiful little girls at home, and I don't ever want to be that father that hits the couch and is like, guys, I'm such a busy, important entrepreneur. I can't play with you guys. No, I want to be like, are we going for a hike tonight? What? It's freaking gorgeous out. Let's do this. I want them to experience an awesome dad.
Yeah.
And again, the fitness and the eating right are all part of that. And, I talk about eating right. I have all of my meals prepped for me, and they're clean. If you
What
don't
makes the
have that
meals?
going on, I always recommend people look into it, because if you don't, oh yeah, I'll just pop over and get some fast food. Those are the things that slow you down. They slow you down at work. They slow down your brain. And then, yes, by the time you get home, you're freaking wiped because you
Okay,
fed
but
your body garbage.
okay, Marcus. Now hold on. I can appreciate that. Who makes your meals? You have someone who makes them for you. Have a food company.
Absolutely. It's a company called Meals Await. They're out
Yeah.
here in Western Canada. Absolutely amazing. Same kind of principles as Magnum. I always look for people who have that same focus of like, I actually care.
Yeah.
Ellie is the owner,
Mhm.
and
I
I
met her
came
before.
across her, and she really cares about food. She cares about health. She uses organic this and organic that and non-hormone and all this stuff. So yeah, it's
So
awesome.
is it? Here's the thing. Too. My question is, I love what you're saying because it makes a lot of sense. You know, it makes a lot of sense. So priorities now, and you grew up because you kind of said too. You grew up, poor, and then eating healthy. I mean, it can be expensive. Why do
Yeah,
fast food places exist? Okay, I mean,
yeah, right.
I like a Big Mac, whatever. But I mean, if you're gonna go dollar for dollar, sometimes with eat, and it's you're out in BC, which is probably a little bit different. We're catching up out, I think, in Ontario and other places in the country. I remember too, I think where you're located. But yeah, I mean, on a budget, and then this is probably where supplements come in. So you're saying this now, and you're obviously doing well. I said, but to a younger guy, if I'm a
Yep,
fitness guy going, okay, Marcus, I'm going to school. I can't have, Ellie. One day I will get Ellie to make my food.
yep,
What can I
yep.
do? What supplements? What would you say to someone?
So I give two answers. Number one, it's not as expensive as you think. So even you talking about compared to fast food, look at what a fast food meal costs these days. It's no longer when we were young when it was $4.50 would get you everything. You're talking about 7.50, 9.50, 10.50. Okay,
So price.
Ellie's meals are right in that ballpark, but it's healthy and it's in your fridge. So think about how much time you save. You don't have to go out and get anything. You don't have to feel bad about yourself, because we all know you feel bad about yourself when you're in that drive-through window. It's just right there in the fridge. Okay, but now let's talk about the college kid, because I was once there and I was like,
Yeah.
man, every penny counts here. So I would prep my own food. So there's a huge difference there. Prep your own food. Cook a whole week's worth of chicken breasts. Cook a whole week's worth of sweet potatoes or yams. Cook a whole bunch of broccoli. Boom, you got your whole week right there. And that's going to take you so far, because not only is it way better, it's way better for your body, you feel better, but also, again, it's right there ready to eat, as opposed to, oh, shoot, I'm so hungry. I guess I'll go take an hour to go pick it up and come back, or whatever the case. Boom, I'm eating and I'm getting stuff done.
Oh, I mean, I like it. Obviously, I think successful people have to schedule. Like people, anyone who says they're too busy, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
the excuse. I mean, I think with anything, it's just all it is priorities and being
Priorities.
being self-aware. I mean, I was
Yes.
once, very, very overweight, almost 250 pounds myself. And as ironic as it is, I was working in the bodybuilding and fitness world, and I've always been around this stuff. But I will say there was a time where obviously food was not my friend, and people ask me, well, what did you do? And I'm still not even exactly where I want to be. However, I think it's just lifestyle changes. I mean,
Yes.
you're right about the last thing. I mean, we're going to talk about COVID and the situation. I know there's stuff here that we should get into. Yeah, but sometimes these unfortunate situations kind of spark something. And for me,
Yes.
I like to go out to have a meal. I'm a foodie. I'm not gonna lie,
Yep.
man. I do like the bad stuff sometimes. But I like to make my own stuff. And I do find if you just start off with that, you know what I mean? Not that we're gonna go on to a health rant here, but
Yeah.
just start off with making your own food, because and a lot of people now, if you can make your own food in the early days, you know what I mean? Get to a point where you could have food prepared, or if you get married or whatever your situation is, you live at home with your parents. I mean, if your mom or dad or someone cooks for you, it's great. But I think that's a good start. Um,
Yeah.
is making your own food, and then from there, now supplements. Let's talk about supplements, because I know we've got COVID. I want to get into, but how many different supplements or how many different SKUs do you have?
Oh, maybe 30 when you count different flavors and whatnot. But,
30.
different products, let's say there's, I'm not sure, 20 now.
Okay, let's do some. How many countries is Magnum in?
Um, somewhere between 50 and 60.
50 and 60. Wow.
Yeah. It gets tricky not to have an exact number because, I
Some
ship it to Russia and Russia spreads it to 12 countries over there. And yeah.
and then in Canada, where can people find Magnum?
Uh, any good supplement store. If they're not a good supplement store, they don't have us. We do really great things with Popeyes. They're our number one partner.
Yeah.
Popeyes supplements take great care of you.
Yeah. It is an interesting time. I mean, with everything that's been going on, international business and all that, and being, listen, I respect, like I said, any, business owner, Canadian business is definitely, I think we should all be proud of the accomplishment, because taking anything overseas, we have Inside Fitness in Australia, and we've had it in South Africa, Germany, and it's nothing cool. Like, it's nothing cooler to see like an ad or something with your product, or, I mean, you've been in the ads too, so I'm sure you've probably even seen it where you're like, oh man, that's pretty badass.
Oh, it's so cool having like Russian or
Yeah.
Ukrainian or Portuguese all over my face and stuff. And I think that's just the coolest.
Okay, so and so you have 30 supplements, quite a few supplements that you have.
Yeah.
How do you, the latest one that we have here, fasted cardio, what makes this one unique? What makes this one special? Why do people need this?
I'm so excited about fasted cardio. One of my favorite supplements ever. First of all, perfect timing. COVID is such a tough time for health and fitness and just getting your workouts in. Gyms are still closed in a lot of places. It's been tough for people, and people have put on 10, 15, 20 pounds that they didn't want.
Yeah.
Fasted cardio increases the fat burning effect of any exercise you do. So even if you're just going for a walk with your family, fasted cardio will get you hotter, give you more energy to go longer, and will burn more fat. So it is actually getting you going.
What's in it that's gonna help with this?
There's some incredible ingredients backed by wicked science. So here's a couple. There's this patented ingredient called Serenate and Seren-10. They're specific carbons of MCT oils derived from organic coconut oil. And what's really unique about these bad boys, they go right through your gut, get right into your bloodstream, and they actually produce ketones on your brain. So you notice you have an energy, boom, but you've sped up your metabolism. It has all this science on how great it is for burning fat and getting your body going. But then it's mixed with a whole bunch of other incredible ingredients, choline bitartrate, Indian gooseberry, GBBGO. This is like a super carnitine. Many people are familiar with carnitine, familiar with how good it is for your heart, how good it is for fat burning, creating real thermogenesis in your body. You get warm on this bad boy. That's good. You sweat more when you're working out. You just feel so good. Plus, it tastes so good. It's a beautiful drink to drink in the morning if you're going to do it fasted cardio. But you also don't have to do fasted cardio to appreciate fasted cardio. It can be used as a pre-workout.
Oh, very cool. So this just launched right now. This just came out, right?
You got it. June 1.
June 1st. Okay, so and then you were talking about COVID and what sparked from there? What happened with you and your brand during COVID?
COVID's very interesting, man. Big words there. I went through a tough time in the beginning, like most people. So I hope people are going to appreciate this story because you really do get to decide how you're going to turn it around. And it really is up here. Yes, tough situation for everyone. I don't think there's anyone that's like, oh, I'm so glad COVID's here. Wow. The first 2 to 3 weeks, it was horrifying. I threw myself a wicked pity party and so scared. Am I going to lose my business? Am I going to lose my house? And, people think, oh, yeah, Markus, you don't understand the troubles I was going through. No, everybody had massive things. I didn't just worry about my own mortgage or my own business. I've got over 100 people who count on me to make their mortgage payments too. Like, it was a horrifying time. And I'll tell you the turning point for me. I sat back and I said to myself, Terry, man, a smart person is going to do something about this. A smart person is going to change their business, get ahead, adapt. Wait a minute. I am that guy. I'm not the guy who sits on the sideline and cheers on the other dudes. I am that dude.
Yeah.
And it was literally that day where I brought my team together, my executives, and I said, guys, we need to adapt today. I want all costs that don't keep us alive cut.
Yeah.
I want new business ideas today. I want new revenue streams today. And it was crazy. It was that day. It wasn't just like new revenue came in that day, but everybody was in a better place. There was so much moping around in fear, and it now all changed to positivity and like, hey, we are going to get through this. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't want to sound braggy, but Magnum is stronger today than I honestly believe it ever has been. Think of how insane that is with everything going on. And we're still right in the heart of COVID. We don't know how long COVID's going to be. I feel my business is stronger today than it ever was. And that is freaking awesome. And it starts right here.
Yeah, no, I obviously agree with you on that one. And the mindset is so key, you know, and when it happened, I mean, even with myself, I was like, okay, you know what, how long is this going to go? And then, you know, my brother's like, oh, it's going to go till summer. I'm like, get out of here. Are you kidding me? Like, this is not. And being in the industry, I'd been through recessions when I worked at Muscle Mag and even Inside Fitness 2008. And I was always told, and I've always kind of saw that fitness was kind of recession proof. And what that means is my old boss told me once, Bob Kennedy's like, boy, because I was all paranoid back in the day in the late 90s. And he's like, it's recession proof. He goes, people always want to work out. He goes, you know, in hard times, they go and work out. And I guess the good thing about COVID, I mean, like I said, it's nothing great about it, but I mean, if there's positive we're going to take out of it, is that people were getting creative with their workouts and there's challenges. I see a lot of people doing different stuff online. You know, we were putting stuff out there. What have you guys done? I mean, as a team or anything you've done? Like, I think there was, is it the Markus Challenge? Is this, let's talk about that.
Thanks for bringing it up, man. I've never been so excited about something that, like, we've created this beautiful community. And I'll be honest, I actually started it by accident. I wanted to do just a little transformation for myself. As I do, I often do that at times, but this was very different for me because I didn't have a goal. Usually when I'm going to get ripped up, I have a goal like, okay, I'm going to land this fitness cover, or I've contacted this magazine and they want me to do an article, so I'm going to get ripped up. I'm an older guy now, and I don't care to like constantly be showing pictures of myself with my shirt off. It's just not my thing anymore. So what I said is, hey, you know, has anybody else put on a few pounds during COVID who wants help taking them off?
Yeah.
Why don't you join me on this journey? I'm just going to lose some fat just to help you guys. So I'm going to go through my tips, how I do it, how I've done it in the past, and I'm just going to support the crap out of you. And overnight, Terry, it was just crazy. Like, I've got a decent social media following, and it's an engaged, very positive following, but overnight, boom, like 700 comments. And my team Magnum, my community, which is such positive, awesome people who all live this lifestyle and love helping other people. I said to them, guys, here's your opportunity. Put your money where your mouth is. That we all talk like we want to help. Okay, here is a group of people who are desperate for our help. They've put on some weight that they're unhappy about. They're scared of what's going on. They're stressed out. They might have lost their job. They don't know what's happening. What better time to come alongside, put your arm around them and go, hey, we really are in this together. You're going to do great. And that's what the Markus Challenge is. It's just a community, and all people have to do to join. There's no cost. There's nothing like that.
Do I have to buy your product?
What's that?
Do I have to buy your product to join?
No, it's not. It's not. Honestly, I haven't even talked about my product yet in the challenge. Because I don't want people scared off. Like, that's why I've started it. I mean, eventually I'm going to talk about supplements because it is who I am, and I wouldn't be where I am and wouldn't have what I have without the supplements. But it's not about supplements. It's really about. So all we say to people is, all you have to do is go to any of my last few posts, the Markus Challenge posts, and say, I'm in. I want to be part of this. And what happens instantly is me and all of my team just come around you, start commenting, start just pouring love on you. And one of the most beautiful things happens so quickly, Terry. You just see this community growing and the love growing. And I've seen so many people say, I can't, like, these messages have brought me to tears, have brought me to tears, have brought me to tears. And you can just see how broken people are right now and needing this kind of love. And this is exactly what, this is why I do this. This is what gets me going in the morning, man.
Well,
So
you're obviously a very passionate guy, and the way you talk now, and like I said, I see you in social media, and you have your team, and people are obviously behind it. Now, how do you deal with any of the people who just, who are the haters, or who be say,
yeah,
oh, maybe you've heard this before. Well, someone say, oh, I think it's fake because Instagram. I mean, let's be honest too. There are people out there who will be like,
absolutely.
the camera's on, they're like, yeah, and then it's off, and they're like, whatever. This is celebrities too. This is not just Instagram. There's lots
Sure.
of people you hear stories about. And in your case, I mean, I've met you obviously in person without social media, and you're this guy, right? Like, how do you deal with anyone sends you any hate messages? Do you have anything that ever comes up? I mean, I've had stuff come my way for sure.
Sure.
And
And we all do, right? Like this is, I love this line of questioning because I do have some really good tips. Number one, use that block function more. It's the
yeah,
hate. The hate is so unnecessary and does nobody any good. And one of the things I recognized early is I have a super positive community. So if you come to my page, it's a safe place. It's like
yeah,
I'll protect you from the hate in the outside world. Now, people have a difference of opinion from me, and I welcome that. When people are
yeah.
question, hey, because
Respectful
there's such
debate.
a
Yeah,
difference between questioning and attacking. So the people are just like, you suck and you blah blah blah, you're
yeah,
gross and blah. All right, that's an easy delete. But you know what's so funny about social media, that it's unlike anywhere else in the world? Imagine going to a concert of a music style that is not your style.
yeah,
So I'm not into like heavy metal. I'm not going to go to a heavy metal concert and stand there and go, you guys suck. This is the worst. Stop. I
yeah.
just don't go to the concert. So if you don't like positivity,
Mhm.
don't come to my page, because that's all you're going to
Yeah,
get. And it always blows my mind. People who show up who want to bring that negativity, and you know what? I don't take it personally. That's the other big tip for
yeah.
anybody who's getting some negative in their life. Don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with me. When someone comes on there and is like, "You have a gross body" or blah blah blah,
Yeah.
that is 100% on them. That's crap going on in their life. I don't know what kind of abuse they've suffered. I don't know what kind of stress they're under. I wish them nothing but love, but you're not welcome here. I don't need to invite you into my life with all your toxic behavior and
I think that's
negativity,
a good.
but I do wish you all the best.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point because, and people maybe, and listen, our social media, I won't lie to you, right? I get messages all the time. Everyone gets messages all the time. You can't always reply to everyone. You can't always
Yeah,
do everything. Oh, you just posted a food photo, but you didn't reply to my message. Like,
yeah,
sorry, you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, I'll jump on social media just to like do what I need to do. Even if I just want to
yeah,
post, I'm fishing, I'm posting a photo, but I don't actually surf it. I don't
yeah,
go on it. They'll choose my times for business. I do use social media for business quite a bit. Not Facebook as much, usually Instagram. And it's interesting to see what's out there and all that. And I think it's totally, you nailed it, because just because someone, it could be, oh, why is this orange? You could have made this. You're always gonna have difference of opinion, and you're
yeah,
entitled to that. I think people
yeah.
are allowed to speak, what they want to say, be
Sure.
respectful of others.
Yeah,
Just because it's not exactly your way of thoughts doesn't mean it's right or wrong. There's always, I think, people have their own 2 cents. I mean, the supplement world, we could probably debate all day. If I put, 6 guys who own companies, and you could be like, this one's this one's that. I mean, fitness and health and beauty, I think that's kind of like some of the beauty about it is it's open to interpretation. People can take certain things and work with it and make it happen their own way. So supplement company owners, I work with a lot of them. I've had some interesting guys on the podcast. And one thing I will say is they're typically, and here's the secret, is they're very determined guys. Not necessarily have to be the brightest guy. I mean, I don't think I'm the smartest guy, but I'm certainly a go-getter, right? And I love that about your personality. And it's not just a social media thing. I'm obviously out in Toronto. We don't hang out that often. It'd certainly be nice. We have which you've had some really, I will say there was the coolest party, one of the coolest parties I went to in Vegas, and it was a friend of mine. It was like, hey, you need to come, da da da. It's, Magnum. I'm like, yeah, I know the Magnum guys, and it was at Mandalay Bay, which was probably the hotel or something. It wasn't Mandalay Bay, and it was this massive suite. I probably had a pool table, had couches. It was like a bar. It was a very elaborate setup, and that was one thing I was like, wow, these guys are not just, we all like to have fun and enjoy life, and you have a couple of cocktails and do it, but it's also that community. And I went to that, and I actually went to that party, and I don't know if you remember this.
I do
There
remember.
was there was my, whatever so-called competitors and certain people people I don't necessarily see eye to eye with, but I didn't really give a shit. I didn't care because the environment I was welcomed into was fine with me. It didn't twist me up or any which way. And I just thought that was actually the first time you had a UFC fighter. You had a guy with the belt. Which was
Anthony Pettis, my
Andy
boy.
Pettis was there with the belt. And I was like, I was my buddy. I go, is that a UFC? Is that Anthony Pettis with the belt right there? And we got some photos. He actually let me hold the belt, which is really cool. They don't really do that, but I like that about you. I mean, oh, you're there.
Sorry, someone's
All
calling. Yeah.
so fun. Okay, so you have a team. I know the Magnum team. I see them on social media. How did you get this going? How did this happen?
Sorry, like originally?
Well, yeah, like because we were on Instagram, did you start having ambassadors? You have your athletes, because now you have like obviously there's quite a few ambassadors or Magnum team members. I mean
Yeah.
now, because you're one of the brands that I do see out there in social media, and you guys put it out there, and like you said, everyone kind of supports each other. Like, is this all
Yeah.
coming from you? Do you have someone who runs all this stuff? Like, how does
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh no, I've always had a team that helps me with my team.
Yeah.
We have, just in Canada alone, I think we're like 220 athletes, and internationally in total, I mean, we're talking like 300 to 400 sponsored athletes.
Wow.
I love my family. Like, it's an incredible family, and I struggle to say no at times to bringing new people on. We look for the good people in the industry. So it started out just like any other company. I need some good looking athletes for my ads and
Yeah.
people in good shape. But I really quickly turned it into, I personally talk with everyone before they're allowed to come on the team. I want to know who they are. And I want to know that they're really about this fitness lifestyle. It's not just like, oh yeah, I get in shape once a year and then the rest of the time I don't care. It's like, no, that's not who Magnum is. Like, we're all about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just this beautiful group that everybody wants to help each other. It's a
Yeah.
lot of love. It's a lot of sharing. It's a lot of community, and it's
Yeah.
what a lot of people are missing in life.
It's, what, man, it's unique in the supplement world where I've seen teams. There's guys who have their teams, but it's more than that as far as like it doesn't, just look like, oh, we're just gonna sell product here. No, we actually use the product. We talk about it. Is people have issues, like you said, you talk about some of the ingredients, and obviously it's well thought out. You're not just putting stuff. Like I said, it's nice and it's very pretty, which, like I said, as a marketing guy, like, but what's in the stuff? You know what I mean? And the integrity, like you said, which is great. And I've had good friends of mine. They'll come up to me and they'll tell me, and I love all the supplement guys because I deal with a lot of them, but Quattro is one of the flavors I think is a very popular. If we were to do like a taste award and put it out there for people to vote on or something like that, I've heard really good feedback on that. And
Thank you very much.
the stomach,
You know,
right? That's the one thing. It's not just flavors are key. How
yeah.
you flavor it is important, and then it's easy on obviously digestion. So
Yeah. See, Quattro's a little bit easier to get ahead on those flavors because we just use the cleanest ingredients on the planet, and I think that's where it starts. The cheaper ingredients are the ones that are chalkier. They're thicker in the mouth. They're kind of harder, and then of course they're brutal on the digestion. But with Quattro, we're lactose free, we're gluten free. You pass gas on that product, I'll give you your money back. So it's nice and clean. It's easy to go down. And we also make it not overly sweet because we want it to be part of your lifestyle. Like, you got to be drinking these things every single day. So you don't want something that's like, oh, that's so sweet. I can't take that every day. But there's one other thing I wanted to mention real quick because I really appreciate what you said. My team, we don't, it's so important to us. We don't jam product down people's throats. It's one of the top things I tell everyone on my team. There's no like, you have to post this many times a week about us. You have to do this. You have to
Yeah.
say these things. I just tell them, like, if it's part of your lifestyle, which is what I screened them for in the first place, the product's going to come up naturally because it is part of your life. And that's all I want. Just tell people, well, why do you take Quattro? Why did you choose Quattro? That's the story we want to hear, not Magnum says I have to say these things about it, blah, blah, blah. That's freaking crap. Nobody wants to hear that.
I mean, that's the upsides of social media is you can kind of see I could see what you're talking about. And there are
Yeah.
companies where they're hidden behind it. You won't really see them out there, or nor should they put themselves out there. And then there's brands, like you said, you live the lifestyle, you develop the product that fits not only your needs, but obviously thousands of other people. And something to be proud of, Marcus.
Thank you.
I don't want to inflate your tires too much there. But no, I mean, just like someone who sits back, and like I said, I have no incentive outside of this. Like we do business, we've done some business, but it's certainly, like I said, I could just sit back and look at other business owners and say, you know what, I like what they do here. You know what I mean? I wonder what they do here, or how do they do this? Everyone's got their unique story, and I appreciate making the time too, because like I said, I'm talking to a lot of people, and this gives us the opportunity to get a little bit better insight into the person is, not just, some of the things that they people will see. It's like getting some insight into who you are and what, makes your brand. I had a podcast with Roger King, Supplement King, and I'd met him before, but we never actually had a discussion. And it was very interesting to learn about his, and it's really cool to see the Canadians, like making stuff happen. I mean, he had like a kiosk, and I'm like, wow, like that's pretty cool. And then,
It's awesome.
you guys like, Popeyes, and, Bernie has a story all into his own. And there's so many success stories. And that's the one thing that I do appreciate. And hopefully, like I said, there's someone, well, no, hopefully I can almost guarantee you there's someone watching what you're doing, hopefully what we're doing inside fitness. And here's my plug for the podcast, the
Attaboy.
inspiration issue.
Love it.
And you know what? I was just like you. We had a bit of a road bump. We're like, okay, we put this magazine out, the immunity issue, which was a free
Awesome.
source. But I was like, okay, what do people want? What do we want coming, out of this, or getting out of this, was to be inspired and, keep doing what you're doing, Marcus. I think obviously it's great. I'll be watching and seeing what you're up to next, because that's really what I'm interested in. Like I've been to your old building, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And now, judging just by the interior of your office here, I'm at bigger space, and you have more opportunity to grow, right? It's
Yes.
certainly going to be stressful, because I mean, you get pause. There's going to be pause. Certain things get paused because you can't ship, you can't do certain things, or
Yeah.
But I mean, good for you as far as happen.
I can't wait to have you out here, bud. Next time you're in town, let's get you in here. Let's have a workout. We'll back in this corner here. I've got a secret wall, and we'll go down the slide.
Oh, wow, a slide. And then we could play some basketball or something like that. I can try and slam dunk on you or something. I mean, come on, we got to have some kind of video. It's all I want. If I'm going to come out there, we need to do something, because I was always reluctant in the past, and I'm like, nah. But you know what? It's time to do some fun stuff. I mean, I love the energy. Before I, cut this all off.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing about Magnums, you guys were always at the trade shows, and there's the energy. Every time I went by the booth, it was like going on. There's no trade shows this year. What's next for you guys? What are you doing? What's the audible or the adaption?
That's tough to say. We're going to adapt as the times change. Some of the shows are trying to get things going, like the Olympia is trying to go in December. There's literally
no word yet for you. You don't know if you're doing it yet or not.
There's pretty much zero chance. For those of you who don't know, if you leave the country and come back, you have to self-quarantine for 14 days, which that's just like impossible for me. And then number two, if you break that for whatever reason, even going to the grocery store and you get caught, it's supposed to be $1 million fine. So there's just zero chance I would go to Vegas. And not just that, I mean, I have so much sympathy for my friends down in the US, but it's a mess right now with COVID. Like everyone's got it and nobody cares, and people don't wear masks. People are yelling at each other if they're wearing a mask. Like, you don't need to wear that. And it's like, Oh man, if somebody wants to wear a mask, let them wear a mask. Don't
Let
get
them,
mad at
yeah.
them.
I think, I mean, obviously in Canada, it's been a lot different. Hopefully the borders stay closed for a little bit. I don't think it would hopefully change. I mean, Ontario, we're not even into phase 3 yet.
Yeah.
So we have no gyms yet. I mean, I've out in BC, you guys, I mean, been lucky to get out there. I mean, I will say I'm missing, I've had gyms, I've owned gyms, I have a gym, and I get outside, try to get more active with everything, but I do like to lift. You know what I mean? It's one of the things that it's just a part of me. I mean,
Yeah.
we could do so much. We could go on for so much more longer, and this is actually probably one of the longest podcasts. And we'll certainly have to pick up another time, and maybe even one thing I do want to do. And I tell everyone, well, not everyone, but most of the guys that I talk to in supplements is getting a bit of a roundtable. And whenever there's another event, or even doing it virtually, getting a couple of guys to talk about, could be Canadian supplement guys, talk about the industry, things that people are doing, because at the end of the day, like I said, we all need to make money. We need to do things, buy magazines, buy supplements, but remember, it's like for the benefit. No one is,
Yes.
we're not selling you things that are bad for you. This is certainly things that are going to help improve. You know what I mean? I look at the magazine the same way you look at your products. It's like, what can I do in my life? And
Yeah.
like I said, I appreciate the time. And where can people
Oh,
follow you? I mean, where can they get to you? Where's the best places on social media?
Instagram is the best. I just don't have time, unfortunately, for Facebook. Instagram is just my name, Markus Kaulius, and check out the hashtag Marcus Challenge. That's Marcus with a K, and come and join. Just go on to any of my most recent posts. Take a watch. You'll get some great tips on just simple diet tips, simple mindset tips, workout tips, supplement tips coming soon, and just say I'm in. I want to be part of this, and me and my team are going to share you so much love with you. And one thing I also want to mention, Terry, that I didn't mention earlier, I want to kind of correct you on something. You called me a self-made man, and I don't find that right. I've had in my life, I'd had so many people come through, just always supporting me, loving me, encouraging me, and it's because of those people, and also it's part of who I am. I'm a Christian man.
Yeah.
God has done so much ridiculous stuff in my life, just putting me always on the right path to make sure I stay smart with that. And I mean, he can take it all away tomorrow.
Yeah.
So honestly, this is his business. I just work here. And, but again, Terry, I'm so thankful to be in on this, man. It's been great chatting with you. I've always liked hanging out with you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thanks. And we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. God bless, bro.